you put the 16 minutes in. So why not just keep doing it? Just be safe. Be safe. Always do your 16 minutes. Always do your 31 minutes. You won't go wrong. Is everyone with me on that?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure you guys are on the ball.
Can I ask a question about the previous slide?
Which one? This one?
You know where you said 2.5 hours of driving, then 1 hour of other work, and then 2 hours of driving, and then a 45-minute break.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that classed? Is that legal? Is that okay?
This, what you see in here, this is absolutely legal, yes.
So that's okay. That's what I've been told.
Because here's why, Carl.
Yeah.
Right? You've done. You're allowed under the road transport working time regulations. You can work 6 hours. You can do 6 hours of work without taking a break. Correct? Know that? Right.
Yeah.
Here you're only doing 5.5. Right? Okay. So what happens if you do this? You do a couple of things. You reset your driving clock, right?
Yeah.
Because you've done your 4.5 hours of driving. So you wipe that out. You reset that clock. You also reset your working time clock. So this is a great time to do it when it's like that. You've maximized the amount of work you can do, and you're resetting all your clocks, and you're good to go.
Can I just ask something?
Yes.
You spoke earlier about if you did a 4.5 hour drive, and it didn't register, and I was just thinking about then. You said you do a 4.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
When you get to your place, can you get out and unload it? Well,
yeah.
According to this, you can, because you can put another work as long as you're not driving, and then have your break.
Well, the problem there is that
technically
after the 4.5 hour drive, you hit a mandatory break time.
But as long as you're not driving, if you get there 4 hours and 29 minutes, or even bang on, technically you can still do other work.
Now, where are you getting that information?
Well, your working time perspective says
no.
May I just say, it's the tachograph hours that supersedes the working time, because the tachograph's telling you need that mandatory break. But that supersedes any rules with the working time.
It does, but you're not going over your 4 hours 30. So you
need to break after 4.5 hours of driving, is what we're saying.
Well, you need your break before you drive again.
You do, but you also need to break before you do that unloading. It's a mandatory break at that point.
Even your van boy needs to break after that. If you got someone else,
you have no option on that one. If you don't take a break at that point, you're violating. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? All right, let's move on. All right, that one we've done. Okay, so just check my time. All right, once the driver has taken that 45-minute break or qualifying breaks, the total 45 minutes, and he does it before or at the end of a 4.5 hour driving period, this clears their clock. You all understand what I say when I say you clear the clock, right? Everyone understand what clearing the clock is, right? We reset, and we're good to go. So the next 4.5 hour driving period begins after the end of that qualifying break. Now, the break requirements for the second driving period don't need to take into account the first period. It's totally separate. So we might do something like this. I drive an hour and a half. I take a 30-minute break. I drive an hour and a half. I take a 30-minute break. Now, what I've done there is I've taken a total of 1 hour of break. Yeah. That is enough that it resets the clock, right? and it wipes out this. Everyone agree with me?
Yeah.
Right. So now we don't have to worry about that at all. We can go on to here. I take a 45-minute break, a 4.5-hour drive, take a 45-minute break. That wipes out that, correct? I'm good.
Isn't that too many hours driving?
No, total of 9 hours driving right there.
8 hours.
What, from the morning one to that one?
I'm sorry?
4.5 and 4.5, that's 9. And then
Yeah.
these other 2 are these 3 hours driving.
Where are you seeing?
Didn't you
You've
say
got
4.5? Have I missed something?
You've got 4.5 hours plus 3 hours. You've
Oh,
got
I went from the other slide. I do apologise.
yeah. 4.5 hours plus 3 hours. So what's that? 8.5 hours. Yeah. So
That's another question.
totally legal there.
7.
I was told it was a 15-minute break and then you have to have a half an hour break.
Yes. If you're splitting your break, yes.
This one here says you've got 30 minutes and then the 30 minutes. So
you can do that. You can do that. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. You're just going even longer. Yeah. You don't have to have the short one. No, you can go 30 and 30. Absolutely, you can. Yeah, that's a pretty simple one. A pretty simple one. You could even do another hour of driving if you want. Right there, at the end of your day. If you want to volunteer. Okay. Now, let me ask you another question, and I want the simplest answer. What is your maximum daily driving time?
9 hours.
9 hours.
Correct.
But you can do
Absolutely
an hour.
perfect.
Oh,
That's all I want to know. Perfect. 9 hours. You need to remember this. Your maximum daily driving time limit is 9 hours. So, in reality, I could do this. I could drive 4.5 hours. I could take a 45-minute break, and I could drive another 4.5 hours. Correct?
Yes.
That would be a great day. Actually, it'd be an awful day. That would be a rough day, right, Thomas?
Yeah.
That's no fun. All right, this might be a bit better. Drive for 2 hours, take a 45-minute break. Drive for 4.5 hours, take a 45-minute break, and then drive 2.5 hours. Is that better?
Mm.
Not much, but it'll do. Now, your maximum daily driving time can be increased to 10 hours twice in a fixed week. Why would we do that?
so you can get home or get to a place of rest.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. You get stuck on the M62. You know, you're just having a great day and traffic just starts backing up and you realize you're not going to make it back to your depot in 9 hours. So you've got that 1 hour extra that you can use. Everyone knows about that, right? Let me ask you this. For whose benefit is that extra hour?
The drivers.
Yeah.
In theory or in reality?
Say what? Say that again.
In theory or in reality?
That's a great question. In theory, the drivers. In reality, what happens? Someone tell me.
Well, just company.
The company push that extra couple of hours out of you if they need it.
They can do. They will do, won't they? They will do. Are they supposed to? No. I'm glad you mentioned it. No, they're not supposed to, but they do. They do. And most of us, kind of turn a blind eye, so to speak. What can you do? What can you do? So, yeah, they'll sometimes schedule you a 10-hour run. Hopefully not, but they very often do. So you might have something like this. 4.5 hours of driving, I take a 45-minute break. 4.5 hours of driving, take a 45-minute break. Drive an extra hour, right? Or let's say the company does schedule me a 10-hour run. It might look like this. I drive for 2 hours, take a 45-minute break, drive for 4.5 hours, 45-minute break, drive for 3.5 hours. That all adds up to 10 hours of driving time. Is everyone with me on that?
Yeah.
It can work like that. It's not supposed to, but it can work like that. Right. So, your maximum daily driving time limit, your maximum weekly driving time limit is 56 hours in a fixed week. Everyone with me on that? You need to remember that. 56 hours in a fixed week. That is a hell of a lot of hours of driving, right?
Well, this is just driving. What about the working time?
This is just driving. You
That's
want to
another issue.
Hey, Thomas, you want to volunteer for this? This is a lot of work. Now, most drivers these days are not working like this.
You have told us that it's 144 hours a week, everything included, isn't it?
A maximum of everything.
Yeah,
yes.
everything. I mean, yeah.
But
Okay.
is that together with rest?
Yeah.
Daily rest.
That's your total working time.
Yeah, but in 2 weeks we have to do 90 hours driving.
Yeah.
90 hours driving.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Let's look at this. How many hours per day you're driving? You're driving 9-hour days plus 2 10 days. That is very, very busy. Now, most drivers are not doing that many hours right now. Most are doing less than 40, to be honest. Is there anyone here doing hours like this?
Not now.
Not now?
Not now.
Thomas, how many hours do you do driving?
Me?
Yes.
Well, driving time is just much less than that. Well, working time is another issue.
Right. What are they making you do?
Well, delivering the power access. At the moment it's not so busy, but last year I worked for one company in London because I'm an agency driver. It was like twice a week, 15 hours a day working time, and the rest 12 or 13 hours a day.
Yeah, that's pretty normal. That can be done. That's a lot of work. I wouldn't do it these days. All right.
Yeah, but it doesn't make any difference than driving.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We've got a break coming up in a few minutes here. All right, your maximum driving time limit over any 2-week period is 90 hours of driving. 90 hours of driving. So if you drove 56 hours last week, you know that the most you can drive this week would be 34, because 56 and 34 gives you a total of what?
90.
90, yeah. 56 and 34 is 90. Now, as we go on, we're adding up our hours to check. We drop off the last week, so we drop off that 56. Now we're looking at weeks of 34 and 45. Gives us a total of what?
79.
79 hours. So we're good with that one. So we drop off the 34. We look at the 45 and the 45. What have we got there?
90.
90. We're maxed out on that one. We didn't go over, so we're good. And then we got 45 and 43 gives us...
HEH.
Yeah. So whatever we do there, we're fine. We're fine with nothing to worry about. We're in good shape with that. Correct? All right. Let's talk. Let's talk for a minute on rest periods. Rest periods. A daily rest period must be taken within each 24-hour period after the end of the previous daily or weekly rest. Now, your rest period is an uninterrupted period of time where a driver can freely dispose of their time. No one's telling you what to do during that time. And if you're double manning, actually, no, not if you're double manning. Not if you're double manning. If you're on your own, you can do this. A rest period may be taken in a vehicle, provided it is stationary and there are sleeping facilities on board. Now, when I say sleeping facilities, I don't mean your fully reclining heat and massage driver's seat. I mean a fixed bunk. That's the only sleeping facility that's allowed, a fixed bunk. And certain activities, for example, self-employed work, volunteer work, where there's an obligation to carry out duties, are classed as duty, and they would not count toward a rest period. Everyone with me on that?
Mm-hmm.
So here's a 24-hour period. You do some driving, you do some breaks, you do some other work. That is your duty time right there. What is your regular duty time? Can anyone tell me? Your regular duty time.
It's combination.
15 hours.
How many?
15.
No.
Sorry, 13.
There you go. Thank you. Good man. 13 hours. And that means that your regular daily rest is how long?
Regular daily... reduced.
No,
breaks.
not reduced. Regular daily rest is how long?
11 hours.
11 hours. Adds up to 24, right? This has always got to equal 24. So we are good in that case. Listen, let's pause right there. Let's take a break. I'll see you all back here at 10:15. Sound good?